friends, it's me, Brandy Barnard, coming to you from the Great American Stampin Show. It is now time for round 2. Wait a minute, I forgot something. That's right, I was the winner of round number 1, so I am back here to defend myself and my title for round 2. So the way this works is my competitors, Shannon, Julie, and Jody, have all been assigned the same stamp set as me, and we are all going to create a great project for you and make a video for you to watch, and you're going to choose which one is your favorite and thereby the winner of round 2 by clicking like on the video that you like best. So if you know you love my video best, you can click like right now. Also, the links for the other 3 competitors' projects can be found in the description of my video below. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we've all been assigned the Bird's Eye View stamp set. This is a new one that just came out last month in the new annual Stampin' Up! Catalog. Cute little collection of birdies, some fun other images to sort of enhance them, and I have already seen some amazing projects made with this out on the interwebs. So one thing I've seen a lot is these cute little birds colored in with our Stampin' blends, and it looks amazing. But I thought I would try something a little bit different. So I am just going to grab some dark colors of cardstock. I'll start with some Starry Sky here. And I'm going to stamp in Versamark and emboss these birds in white. So let's get this nice and stampy, gushy, inky, all those things. Stamp that little guy. This is great because I don't have to choose which bird. I can just go to town. Do this one. Okay, now we'll grab some white embossing powder and my handy dandy little tray. That powder. Leave that for just a moment. We want it to stick to the image all over on that Versamark. And when I'm tapping the extra off, I'm going to be very gentle. Okay, that is looking good. We'll stamp some more and then we'll heat them all at the same time. So my next color is Parakeet Party. Wait and tap. Tahitian Tide. I'm going to do this little guy again. Stamping a total of 6 birds, but there are only 5 in the set. So we'll let this little guy appear twice. And one more swoosh of embossing powder. Okay, perfect. Now, one thing you'll notice about this stamp set is there are no greetings. And so no worries, we have a whole catalog of amazing stamps. And I went to the Charming Sentiments stamp set. As you can see, plenty of cute choices here. You really couldn't go wrong. But what jumped out to me was woo-hoo, because I don't know, woo-hoo, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo is what the owl says. So woo-hoo it is. And we will also emboss that. So I'm going to stamp it 2 times. I love white embossing on black cardstock. It always looks so striking. Okay, and it's time to emboss these with my embossing heat tool. I just kind of tilt it toward the light so I can see when the powder turns shiny and melted. I'm holding it still in one place while I wait for the first bit of melting. And then as I move kind of steadily across the image, everything will get melted. Okay, just look at all of these adorable embossed images ready to go. I've got my handy dandy paper snips and I am going to cut these out. This is called fussy cutting because I'm cutting around it by hand instead of using like a die or a punch to cut it out. And so this particular project, I'm going to cut all the birds out. Now, not everybody loves to fussy cut, and that's fine. You could just stamp these images on. You'll see how I'll do them in a minute. All of the birds are all cut out now, and I'm ready to tackle the words. I'm just going to do some straight lines. I mean, obviously they're not going to be perfect, but I am not that picky. I'm just going to kind of cut a little rectangle around each of the woohoos. My next step is going to be to glue these birds down with my Seal Plus onto this little rectangle of paper. And so I'm just going to start wherever, and I'm going to peek each bird's head onto the rectangle and let his tail hang off. So let's see, maybe about like this. I actually had a dream when I was procrastinating getting this project done, but I was thinking about the stamp set, knowing I needed to create something using this stamp set and soon. And in my dream, I was at the bottom of a hole, and all of these birds were at the top of the hole looking down at me. And so when I woke up, that is where I got the idea for this card. So here they are. Do they look like they're all peering down at me like, hello, Brandy, are you going to create your card yet? Stop procrastinating. Okay, let's grab a country corners. Is that what this is called? Let's double check. Yes, no, countryside corners. And I am going to cut this out and just kind of nip all those little feet and the extra cardstock off. So I'll just run this through my Stampin' Big Boss and be right back. Okay, here it is. Just cut that piece right out so it looks all perfect and finished on the edges. And our next step is going to be with some dies as well. I'm going to use this foliage piece from the Gorgeously Made dies and on some of our Smoky Slate cardstock. But because this one is so big, has little kind of branches everywhere, I'm going to use the adhesive sheets on my cardstock before I cut the die. So the way you use these, they come in a pack, I think they're 6 by 12. And I've already cut a piece that's just a bit smaller than the layer of cardstock I'm using. And I just need to peel some backing off of here. So I'm touching it as little as possible and laying it right onto the cardstock piece. And now when I cut my dies out, I'm going to cut the same piece twice, just like here and here, and it will have a nice peelable backing on the back of it, sort of like a sticker. Okay, so here's how it looked after I ran it through. Got the two pieces cut here, and sometimes the backing doesn't cut all the way through, which isn't a big deal. If it's a big deal to you, you can run it back and forth through your Big Boss machine a few times or use a shim to help cut. But I am just going to kind of go to the front of this project and peel the cardstock off of it. I don't mind if the backing wants to stay there, stuck to the paper forever. So I'll lift that off. There's a few little extra chunks, spaces here. And let's go over to our card front. And I think I'll stick the first one. This is just a Smoky Slate card base here. I'm going to stick this. It's a tone-on-tone layer. Okay, there's our second one, and it's going to go down in the opposite corner. Something like this. And I just love that look. It gives it a really cool tone-on-tone. And to get the edges off, I'll just use my paper snips, open up the card. I bump the snips right against my card base and just use that as my straight line. For the next layer on this card, I wanted to use this delightfully eclectic paper. This has been cut down to 6 by 6, but this is a 12 by 12 pack, and it has just a ton of different fun, random design. I wanted this card to have slightly more of a masculine vibe, so I pulled out that paper. This layer is just going to get glued on with some Seal Plus. Now, next layer is going to be my little birdies, and I'll have them hang out right here. I've got a point here, and I don't want it to line up exactly with the intersection of that designer paper. I'm going to use some baby dimensionals. Sometimes these guys are in order. They're just a tiny bit shorter than the regular Stampin' Dimensionals, meaning they pop it up a little less than the other ones. I'm still planning to add even more dimensions, so I don't want to get too carried away. Okay, and now I'll add my greetings. Woo-hoo, woo-hoo, because once isn't enough. We need to say it twice. And I wanted to bling this up just a little bit as well. So I pulled out a couple of products. This is the bow punch. It just punches a couple of cool little branch thingies. So if I put this in my cardstock vellum and punch it once, I get a little and a big vellum leaf thingy majigger. This stuff is called the silver threaded twine, and I'm just gonna do a little length that's long enough to kind of come across my card front here. And I'm going to unravel it. It's like, you know, braided ×4. There's all kinds of braids going on in here, but it's pretty easy to pull it apart, especially when you're working with a piece that's only a few inches. I don't want to break up those brown pieces because I want this to have the feel of a bird's nest. So these are the little sticks. Okay, this is starting to come apart right at its core, so I'll go ahead and let all these pieces become individuals. And that gives me my look of kind of the bird's nest. I'll still sort of twist it right here just so I can keep track of everything. But I love how there's a little bit of silver intertwined in here. It makes it look like a little bit of a mess, which is kind of how bird's nests are. They just gather up, you know, garbage, right? And build a nest out of it right here-ish. I'll use the tip of my paper snips to put a couple of glue dots in here and just make sure I'm holding that twine nicely. We will let the woohoos land over the top of those right about here. Mini dimensionals again are great for the ends of this. And then final touch is to take our little vellum leaves and just sort of tuck these in. Let them go right under here. Maybe kind of way in here for this one. Again, glue dot on the tip of my paper snips. We'll reach it under there. Can come in here and give this nest a little trim if anything is sticking out too far. This actually turned out pretty good though. And that is pretty much it. I showed this one to my 16-year-old son and I said, is it too girly with these kind of leaf things and there's a little sparkle? He's like, no, this card is awesome. I love it. So it's got the Jack seal of approval. That's it, you guys. I hope you had fun with this project and watching me create using the Bird's Eye View stamp set. If my project is your favorite, click like on my video and make sure you check out the other 3 competitors' videos as well so that we can figure out the winner of round 2. And we will see you back here in 2 more weeks for round 3 of the Great American Stampin' Show. Be sure to subscribe to my channel right now so you don't miss a single thing. See you next time.